So last class, did you understand nicely this homocystinuria? You understood this? Both synthesis of non-essential amino acid and amino acid catabolism. This same picture is, if you memorize this, you will understand both. Now, all amino acid, I told you about transamination reaction. Then these are the important thing that you need to know everything. So I have written everything, though it may not be that sequential, but these are like, you can take it as summary also. So these are like summary points, 9 points at summary points. You can take it as summary points also. So this, don't forget this catabolite product. So when somebody asks you VMA, you have to remember that VMA is nothing but epinephrine, norepinephrine, norepinephrine. So main two, main two, both A and B has very high amount of VMA because of it has that pheochromocytoma. So if you have to diagnose this main two, you can take this also. Take that, do that laboratory testing of VMA. And then dopamine. So dopamine means HVA. And this tryptophan means the catabolite product of tryptophan is HEA. VMA, HVA, and HEA. So you just remember these three. Very important. Okay, very important. So I told you to remember 100 gram in, 100 gram out, and 100 gram in the middle in the blood pool. So remember this. This is all about nitrogen balance. So if you remember 100, so you can easily remember this 70, no problem with that. 100, you can remember it, easily remember this. So 100, and 100, remember, for nitrogen balance. These are negative nitrogen valence and positive nitrogen valence. These are the disorders we were talking about. We talked in detail about homocystinuria and try to see the level of methionine also. So level of methionine and homocysteine. So see, this is homocysteine. We have done this also. We have done this. We have done this. So we have done complete sulfur containing amino acid metabolism. I told you. So this is called activated methionine cycle, AMC, or methionine cycle. So what is happening? One uphill is synthesis of methionine, and downhill is breakdown of methionine. In process of breakdown of methionine, the very important function this methionine is serving is through SAM. SAM is actually methylating, giving a methyl. Actually, it is a very important methyl donor. Methyl tetrahydrofolate transfer its methyl group through SAM. So SAM gives its methyl group to some important, for formation of important compound. For example, from norepinephrine to epinephrine. Okay. This is catecholamine, part of catecholamine. Then epigenetic modification, creatine. So these are the very important. We have already done creatine also. So you can see this transsulfuration reaction will result in production of cysteine. And if there is blockade in degradation, so the reaction will try to give uphill. So in this deficiency, both will be high. But opposite, if there is problem blocking here, so this will be low and this will be high. So there will be opposite. And this is classical. And this all are non-classical. You remember, vitamin B12 deficiency in metabolism, vitamin B12, problem in folate metabolism. So all are related to non-classical type. So understand these all things, very important. So I have already given you the overview of this vitamin B12 metabolism. So there is generally the disorder happens because of problem in metabolism rather than absolute deficiency. So this metabolic problem because of this proteins deficiency will lead to metabolism of vitamin B12 metabolism. This enzyme deficiency, MTHFR deficiency, methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase deficiency will cause this problem. So metabolism in folate metabolism and vitamin B12 generally metabolism causing this homocystinuria. In such condition, you see both arrow is directing upward. Here, opposite. So homocysteine and methionine is opposite. Arrow is directing opposite. Methionine reduces, homocysteine increases. Here both increases. So that is a very big difference. So we have already done treatment. Actually, during treatment, understand the treatment of this very nicely. and understand the significance of betaine. I have discussed it already. So what is the significance of betaine here? So I have told you significance of betaine. Significance of betaine and then vitamin B6, high dose vitamin B6. And generally what happens in homocystinuria patient, generally not only all patients are given this also. Okay, whole thing. All patients are given vitamin B6, B9 and B12, all patients are given, and betaine also. So this is how vitamin B12, this homocystinuria is treated. But for our biochemical purpose or for biochemistry, because we are studying the pathogenesis very distinguishedly, we have a sharp demarcation. We are studying in a way of sharp demarcation, but patients don't come with such sharp demarcation. So sometimes you have to go with this vitamin because these are non-toxic vitamins, so there will not be any problem. Okay, but you have to understand this way. And don't forget betaine here also. I forget to write betaine here also. Okay, so let's today talk about, after recapitulating the last class, let's today talk about what? Phenylalanine metabolism, other disorders. Phenylketonuria, then alkaptonuria, disorder of phenylalanine metabolism, and then we will talk about disorder of branch chain amino acid catabolism. So this is the catabolic process of phenylalanine. So you can see this is phenylalanine. So here at last you can see the phenylalanine ring has been broken down. Actually, you can see ring has been broken down. The central to this metabolism is dioxygenase. So you can see what does this oxidase do? So what does this oxidase do? Oxidase will break these rings. Let's first see these two reactions. This first reaction you already know. This reaction is conversion of phenylalanine into tyrosine. And this is a very important reaction. This is a very important. First reaction is very important reaction. This is done by phenylalanine hydroxylase. And the cofactor that is required for this hydroxylation is a very unique type of cofactor, tetrahydrobiopterin. We have talked about tetrahydrobiopterin. This tetrahydrobiopterin is synthesized from which molecule? This is synthesized from GTP, guanine triphosphate. Easily it is synthesized from this. Okay, so this is BH4, tetrahydrofolate, tetrahydrobiopterin. It is very similar to, little bit similar to folate also. So this is called tetrahydrobiopterin. It is not essential, it can be synthesized. That is why we don't study in vitamin. Otherwise, it is a cofactor that is synthesized in our body. Now you can say this is a very, very important cofactor. Okay, we will talk about this. So this phenylketonuria is associated with deficiency of this, or there can be deficiency of this tetrahydrobiopterin. Now you can see this, if cofactor is deficient, there will be more aggressive presentation. We will talk about that. If this is deficient, there will also be a presentation, not good presentation, but this will be more aggressive. This is malignant presentation. You will see when tetrahydrobiopterin is deficient. Now let's talk about this catabolism. We will talk about this in very detail. So what will happen? So next, this tyrosine is converting into this. Now you can see aminotransferase reaction. So this is aminotransferase that we have seen. I've told you almost all amino acids undergo transamination reaction except few amino acids. I told you serine, threonine, homocysteine, and proline. So this 4 amino acid does not undergo transamination. This is not among those amino. This among those 4 amino acids. That is why it will undergo transamination reaction. You know what is the features of transamination reaction? It requires vitamin B6. And though I have not shown here, so you need to understand this is a reversible reaction. Okay, this is a reversible reaction. And if one of this is reactant or product, this is one of this. If this is a reactant, this will be product. This is a reactant, this will be the product. You can see this. Now, this is converting, this will causing transamination. So first is hydroxylation, then transamination. This, what does it? It converts this phenylalanine into tyrosine into hydroxy, you can see hydroxyphenyl pyruvate. So this reaction, what will happen? The 5-hydroxyphenyl pyruvate hydroxylase, or this is also called dioxygenase. What does this enzyme do? This enzyme does shift of this side chain. shift, you can say shift of side chain hydroxyl group here. So side chain shift here and hydroxyl group is positioned here. This is a very unique type of actually shift, and this shift has been given name, though you don't require, just I am giving you name for your more satisfaction, so that you will have understanding. Okay, you have understood more. This is called NIH, National Institute of Health, NIH shift. Okay, so understand this NIH shift. So this shift will happen, and shift after shift there will be boom. So phenylalanine catabolism, just remember it is, there will be a shift. First there is hydroxylation, transamination, then you know all amino acid will go under transamination. Generally transamination is the initial reaction of all amino acid catabolism. So that is why you can see transamination reaction is the initial reaction. After transamination there will be shift and then boom. Shift and then what is boom? Boom means the ring will burst, you can say. Boom, shift, and you can see dioxygenase will break this boom. Now what will happen? So shift will happen, okay, but after shift there is no boom in alkaptonuria. So the enzyme that causes boom reaction, the enzyme that causes boom reaction is absent. So what is that enzyme? That enzyme is homogentisate oxidase. So this is homogentisate of molecule. So I actually have very unique style to make people memorize this homogentic acid. Okay, so you write H, okay, like this. You make this OH. So this is very homogeneous type of compound. Anyway, I will write here. Okay, write this. Okay, this is what is aromatic ring. You write OH here. You write OH, very homogeneous type of molecule. And then this is acetate. So even if you don't remember, no problem. My job is to write the structure so that you will not be scared of the structure, and you will have a little bit, when you go through this structure, you will have like more confidence in studying the biochemistry. So this is more confidence and more satisfaction. So this homogentisate, homogentic acid, this is will not undergo boom reaction by homogentisate dioxygenase. So what will happen? This type of compound will accumulate. You know, this compound has two OH. This is basically, I have already told you, this is a quinone, hydroquinone type of group here, hydroquinone type of group. So such group, what will happen? This group will undergo oxidation, automatic oxidation. It can transform into quinone, and quinone is colored compound. You know, so such compound will accumulate in your tissue. And because of this accumulation of this compound, your tissue will be colored. So this is the main presentation. Tissue, your cartilage will be colored. This is the main presentation of alkaptonuria. Alkaptonuria, this is, in some way it is called alkaptone like color. So this is called alkaptonuria. So this compound will appear in urine. And this compound will, when it appears in urine, upon oxidation, it will be colored. You understood the mechanism?
Yes, sir.
So this will become colored. That is why I'm focusing on this whole molecular structure. So this will be colored, and colored, because of that it is called alkaptonuria. So urine will be colored, and such compound slowly with age it will deposit inside the connective tissue, in cartilage, and actually those cartilages connective tissue will look colored. Otherwise this condition is almost benign. This condition will not cause such big problem in body, only coloring, and there will be problem in arthritis will be there, because cartilage growth will be compromised. Only presentation here is arthritis, main problem. Patient come with the arthritis, and there when you see this patient's skin and everything, then it will be colored. So this is alkaptonuria, very important disorder. Phenylketonuria, we will talk about that. Now after boom, so series of reaction again will progress, and this will result to I have told you this phenylketonuria, phenylalanine, and this tyrosine will join as what? tyrosine and phenylalanine join this Krebs cycle as fumarate. And this is also what type of amino acid? Both. All aromatic amino acid will produce both ketone body and glucose. So you can see they will join as fumarate. What is fumarate? Fumarate is 4 carbon compound like this. Okay, this is trans compound with double bond. It is part of Krebs cycle. So this will form fumarate and acetyl coenzyme. Acetyl coenzyme. Now you can see this, the fate here. You can see the fate here. I will show you the fate. So this phenylalanine tyrosine, you can see this. This is what? Which molecule is this? Be quick. Which molecule is this? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not quite sure which compound you're pointing at.
This. What is this? This is fumarate. Fumarate. 4 carbon compound with double bond is fumarate. And this is acetoacetate. So this is ketogenic plus glucogenic amino acid, both. So we have seen this whole catabolism. So focus on this boom reaction. If boom reaction does not happen, the ring breaking reaction, you can see here. So ring breaks here. So ring breaking does not happen, and that leads to alkaptonuria. Here, hydroxylation does not happen, that leads to phenylketonuria. These 2 disorders are very important. Let me mention some other disorder also. These are not that important, but let me mention. So there is type tyrosinemia 1, 2, and 3. So tyrosinemia means tyrosine level will be very high in blood. So these are type 1 tyrosinemia is because of last enzyme deficiency, and type 2 because of transaminase deficiency, and that type 3 because of this shift reaction enzyme deficiency. So, and try to memorize phenylketonuria and alkaptonuria. We will talk about phenylketonuria. So I told you this phenylketonuria is because of deficiency of this phenylalanine hydroxylase. Okay. So for the time being, so this phenylalanine hydroxylase converts this phenylalanine into tyrosine. OH group is added. Now, what is required here is this addition of OH by this tetrahydrobiopterin. You can see this tetrahydrobiopterin. Okay, tetrahydrobiopterin. Now tetrahydrobiopterin will be reduced into some other oxidized form because it will give the hydrogen. So it will be oxidized. So tetrahydrobiopterin become quinonoid dihydrobiopterin. So forget about quinonoid. At least remember dihydrobiopterin. Tetrahydro converts into dihydrobiopterin. So this dihydrobiopterin has to be reconverted into tetrahydrobiopterin by the enzyme dihydrobiopterin reductase. Okay, by the enzyme dihydrobiopterin reductase. So what will happen? There can be this disorder. Phenylketonuria can be because of, the most common is because of this. This is called classical phenylketonuria. When this is deficient, it's called classical phenylketonuria. But there can be deficiency of this enzyme. That means there is deficiency of biopterin. Tetrahydrobiopterin is low. Tetrahydrobiopterin is low. Okay. So that means in that condition also, this is not being converted into this. And I will tell you one more information here. So this, you can write. I don't have slide on this. So tetrahydrobiopterin, it is cofactor of all aromatic amino acid oxidase. Hydroxylase, aromatic amino acid hydroxylase. What are aromatic amino acid hydroxylase? This is first is phenylalanine hydroxylase. So we have seen here phenylalanine hydroxylase. Second is tyrosine hydroxylase. Tyrosine hydroxylation is required for melanin synthesis. Actually, melanin synthesis also, and for synthesis of catecholamine. So phenylalanine is this tyrosine hydroxylase. For synthesis of catecholamine, tyrosine hydroxylase is required for synthesis of catecholamine. And then third is tryptophan hydroxylase. These three are aromatic amino acid, and this hydroxylase require this biopterin. And second group of enzyme is nitric oxide synthase. We have discussed about nitric oxide synthase, but we did not talk there about this tetrahydrobiopterin because it will be too much burden for you there. That is why I'm talking here. So nitric oxide synthase, okay? This and this means 4 enzymes require this tetrahydrobiopterin. So imagine if there is deficiency of tetrahydrobiopterin, what will happen? The whole problem will be with this phenylalanine hydroxylase. Problem will be with tyrosine hydroxylase. Problem will be with tryptophan hydroxylase. And you know, tryptophan, this is serotonin formation. There will be no formation of catecholamine formation compromised because of this. Catecholamine formation will be compromised. Because of this tryptophan hydroxylase, what will happen? Serotonin formation will compromise. Serotonin formation will be compromised. And because of this phenylalanine hydroxylase, so tyrosine will become low. Tyrosine will become low. Okay. So this all problem will happen. And even nitric oxide synthesis will be low. So you can see because of this, more deficiencies are happening because of deficiency of tetrahydrobiopterin. Therefore, the condition, this tetrahydrobiopterin will lead to more severe condition than this phenylalanine hydroxylase deficiency. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir. Well, sounds going right.
Yes, sir.
Did you all understand?
Yes.
As a summary word, I will tell you, this deficiency, I have explained many things. That is why it is deficiency of this, because of maybe deficiency of this enzyme will lead to severe condition. Coenzyme will cause severe deficiency, will cause severe consequence than this deficiency. Okay, than this phenylalanine hydroxylase deficiency, this deficiency will lead to severe consequence. That is what I want you to memorize. Why? When we ask question why, then because it is cofactor for 4 enzymes. Okay, so this is the summary. Now, so any of this or this is deficient, what will happen? Result, this will be obstructed. So phenylalanine will be high. In the blood, phenylalanine will be high. Now, phenylalanine, when it is high, so there will be side way. Okay, so there will be other way through which this phenylalanine will be catabolized. And this other way is there, this ring will not be broken down. So ring will exist, but only this side chain will be actually transaminated. Transamination reaction will happen. And as a result, this will convert into this ketone bodies. Okay, this ketone containing bodies. So these are these 3 ketone bodies. You can see phenyl lactic acid. This pyruvate will convert by addition of this pyruvate by reduction. It will convert into phenyl lactate. And this phenyl pyruvate by oxidative decarboxylation, actually it will convert into phenyl acetic acid, and then okay, hydroxyphenyl acetic acid and phenyl acetic acid. So these 3 are phenyl ketones. Remember 3 phenyl ketones: phenyl lactic acid, hydroxyphenyl acetic acid, and phenyl acetic acid. Okay, so this phenyl acetic acid is responsible for mousy order or mousy. These 2 phenyl acetate, especially in hydroxyphenyl acetate, these are responsible for mousy or musty order. Urine. You understood now? So
Yes,
this
sir.
is,
Yes, Dr. Sir.
yeah, this is the core of metabolism. If you understand this nicely, you will understand phenylalanine, phenylketonuria easily. So let's say this. So what is the pathogenesis? Elevated phenylalanine, I have told you, interfere with neurotransmitter synthesis and uptake. So leading to clinical symptoms of phenylketonuria. That means phenylalanine, high phenylalanine is causing toxicity. It is toxic. It is toxic to brain. How? This way. It is toxic to brain. So because of this toxicity, what will happen? Actually, during when the fetus is in the womb of the mother, in intrauterine time, what will happen? All the excess phenylalanine will be taken up by mother and it will be metabolized by mother. Okay, through placenta, all the phenylalanine will be taken up by mother. So growth of the fetus will not have any problem. The fetus will grow very nicely because high phenylalanine will be taken up by the mother. So fetal growth will be very normal. The baby will also burn very normal. There will not be any problem when baby burns. But after baby gets burned, baby has to live by his own or her own. So in that due process, what happens is this phenylalanine elevates in that baby, especially after baby is fed. You understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when phenylalanine elevates, what will happen? That phenylalanine will start causing problem to the baby. And then symptoms appears after 24 hours. Therefore, so doing test just after birth is useless. What you need to do, this newborn screening test has to be done after 24 hours after baby is born. And after you do newborn screening test, you will see in blood this. Very important thing is that phenylalanine, high phenylalanine blood. And then you do blood test. Newborn screening is spot blood test. You pick the heel of the baby and then you collect this spot blood and you do this test by very sensitive instrument that is called tandem mass spectrometry. Tandem mass spectrometry.
Sir, please, is there any reason why they take the blood from the baby's feet?
So baby feet is rich in blood. Actually, you don't need to take very high amount of blood. You need capillary blood is enough. So baby feet actually is very easy to purse. So baby's finger are small. In adult, you prick the finger, but baby has very small finger. So it is the best place to prick. Understood?
Okay, sir.
And it has got more blood because the end organ will have more capillary. Okay? And that is why we prefer it because fingers are very small. And they're very small and delicate. So bone and proximity is very less. So this is the best reason to prick. Bone proximity is very less. Bone is very far away here. So you take this, prick this, and then you get the blood, collect the blood, and you do through tandem mass spectrometry, you do the analysis. And there are panel of, not only phenylketonuria, there are panel of tests. So all the tests are done together. This is called newborn screening. In that newborn screening, you may find phenylalanine is very high. But when you test the urine in such patient, you will see phenylketones high in urine. So this is the condition you will see in classical phenylketonuria where phenylalanine hydroxylase is deficient. But I told you when when this tetrahydrobiopterin is deficient, this leads to a severe consequence. This is also severe. This is not very light type of thing. This can be severe, mild to severe. Okay, based on level of enzyme deficiency, this can be mild also, mild type of phenylketonuria, and this can be very severe also. Okay, based on enzyme deficiency, level of enzyme deficiency. So here you can see malignant phenylketonuria will in such condition. In addition to this, there will be high, very low HVA means dopamine. HVA means dopamine product because synthesis of dopamine is affected. Tyrosine hydroxylase is not there. It's not functional because of this deficiency. So MBA is also low. Phenylalanine is also low. And even I have not written HIAA. HIAA will be also low because serotonin is not synthesized. Serotonin is also problem in synthesizing because hydroxylation, you know, serotonin name is 5-hydroxy. So hydroxylation process is also missing here. So this catabolite will be low in such condition. Low. So this plus low this catabolite. This signifies multiple deficiencies. This is why this is called malignant phenyl PHE, phenylalaninemia. And this is non-classical phenylketonuria. Understood this? Here you can see this. This is the product of this. Okay. So these are the actually presentation. Some presentation in baby, you can see the baby has seizure. Phenylketonuric baby has seizure, delayed development, behavioral problems, and psychiatric problems. So main neurological problems, brain-related problems, seizures, delayed development. Development means even my head will be small. If baby is allowed to grow, head will be small. Microcephaly, you can see microcephaly. So these are the problems: seizure, delayed development, behavioral problems, seizure, and psychiatric disorder. These are the problems you will see. Immediately after 24 hours or 2 days, based on if enzyme deficiency is severe, the baby can have seizure, or baby can progress nicely through his life. But because enzyme is not enough to compensate for, if there is residual enzyme activity is there, what happens? The disease will not be found out initially. The baby will progress through life, but slowly the development will be delayed. Behavioral changes you will see in the baby. So these are the problems you can see in classical phenyl. More neurological consequences in this condition. So, and additional, as baby progresses through life, so additional presentation, you can see this additional manifestation you can see in baby microcephaly. This is adult with phenylketonuria. Undiagnosed, this can have microcephaly. So because of this phenylketonuria, intoxication, mental retardation, blue eye because of melanin deficiency, cataract, lack of protection from the low light, from the light, because melanin is not there. And you know, this pale pigmentation, melanin deficiency, this dry skin, eczema, scleroderma, blonde hair, again, musty and mousy udder. I've told you phenylketones, this high phenylalanine and low tyrosine in such patients you will see. So these are the presentation, additional presentation you will see in such patients. So I have already explained this. After birth, phenylalanine accumulates. Before birth, phenylalanine will be actually all be taken away by mother's blood. So how do you treat this condition? You treat this condition through dietary restriction of phenylalanine. Dietary restriction of phenylalanine. This is the treatment. And then what you do? You do tyrosine supplementation. Restrict this and you do tyrosine supplementation because tyrosine is easily metabolized. And then should be started as soon as possible, ideally before 3 weeks of age. This is very important. Okay, so that any problem will, any toxicity, so that you would prevent any phenylalanine toxicity. Now, this is very strict adherence to the diet is very important during, if mother has phenylketonuria, so mother has to be very strict with the diet. If she is not strict with the diet, then the baby will have problem. Baby will have problem. The growing embryo will not grow nicely. The embryo growth will be retarded. So this is the very important for mother with phenylketonuria. And aspartame, avoid aspartame. Aspartame is formed by aspartate and phenylalanine. So ultimately it will be break down to aspartate and phenylalanine. And therefore avoid aspartame. Diet should be continued. So restricted, diet restricted in phenylalanine should be continued throughout the life. Now phenylalanine concentration should be measured periodically and it should be between 60 to 360. Okay, 60, 360. You can remember easily. 60 to 360 micromole per liter. It should be in between that. And you supplement this tetrahydrobiopterin. Especially in the condition where tetrahydrobiopterin is deficient, and it can be easily treated. So this becomes an essential component there. So if you supplement this condition is easily treatable. So this is more severe and easier to treat than this. Okay. So the trade name is Cuban. You can get this drug in the name by name of Cuban. So this is phenylketonuria. And I have already discussed the pathogenesis of alkaptonuria. So what is deposited in alkaptonuria? Again, this is deposited. This molecule is deposited because this alkapton, this is oxidase. Homogeneous oxidase is not there. This is missing. And therefore, this will be accumulated. As a result, you can see this problem will happen. So this is actually a benign condition, okay? Benign condition. Patient actually live a fairly normal life. Only the problem here happens in the patient. Patient generally come with them complaint of this arthritis, okay? And arthritis begins prior to the 3rd decade. So this patient, the main presentation patient came with arthritis, and there will be coloring of the skin. So this presentation patient can come with the coloring of the skin, mainly arthritis. The patient come with the arthritis in the spine, and this all things arthritis will happen. You can see the ochronosis. Ochronosis is dark pigmentation in the connective tissues such as cartilage and skin. You can see the cartilage here, operated skin. Cartilage you can see, in skin you can see here. So earwax also has this type. When you stand the urine will turn very deep black color. So purplish black color. So dark coloration of sclera. And urine turns dark upon sitting. Yeah. So you understood the enzyme deficiency is homogeneous oxidase. This is very easy to understand. Okay, you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understood phenylketonuria, you understood? Very important. Phenylketonuria and alkaptonuria both are important. Especially phenylketonuria is very, very important. So you can see this disorder. So you can go through this. I actually positioned here in order to make you understand this. You can see this will be high, and this will convert into colored product. Okay. So let's talk about maple syrup urine disease. Now, do you remember this type of enzyme anywhere we have discussed?
Yes.
Son, where have you studied? Do you remember? Pyruvate dehydrogenase. Do you remember alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So these are the enzymes. Pyruvate dehydrogenase, alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. This is the 3rd enzyme. You can see this 3rd enzyme is this branch chain keto acid dehydrogenase. So these enzymes, they all have similar in structure. They all have vitamins B1, B2, B3, B4 means lipoate, and then B5. So they all utilize these all vitamins. Okay. So this branch chain keto acid decarboxylase is the very important enzyme that is deficient in maple syrup urine disease. Okay, maple syrup urine disease. So as a result, this branch chain amino acid will not be catabolized, it will accumulate in blood. So this blood will have B for blood, U for urine. So blood will have here, I have shown here, you can see CSF. So this component you will see in CSF. So I have written everything. So this is for diagnosis purpose. This is blood. So branch chain amino acid will be high in blood. Yellow isoleucine is very high in blood. Branch chain keto acids are high. Keto acids are high in urine. Okay, this is blood, and this is urine, you will see. So presentation is because of, in such condition, presentation is because I will tell you this cerebral edema. All presentation is because of cerebral edema. Do you know anything about cerebral edema by now? Yes, it causes intracranial pressure. So do you know the presentation of this intracranial pressure high in ICP? I have also taught And then you must have been taught in neurology also, neuroscience also. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Intracranial pressure. So go and revise again, okay? This is because of high increased intracranial pressure. This presentation you will see in this patient, maple syrup urine disease, is because of high increased intracranial pressure. I also told you vitamin A toxicity is also related to increased intracranial ICP. So go and read that ICP part, okay? So this, because of this intracranial pressure, what will happen? This patient has seizure, hypotonia, lethargy, and then coma. And if not treated, can lead to death. So this is maple syrup urine disease because of deficiency of this very enzyme. This has got E1, it has got E2, and it has got E3. So E1, E2, E3 enzyme complex. So understand this. So this is maple and maple syrup. This because the urine stink like maple syrup, sweety smell, burnt sugar smell, and that is why this is called. Especially you will see not only like earwax, sweat will smell like that, urine will smell like that. Especially earwax is very smelly because earwax is concentrated. So you can easily, when you take the earwax, if the patient stinks in the earwax, there will be characteristic stink in the burnt sugar in, especially in earwax. So in question, you will get this urine and then sweat. You will get in question urine and sweat. You rarely get this earwax. So this and this, understand this. So this is the hint you will find in questions to solve the questions on maple syrup urine disease. So you can see leucine accumulates in brain and cause this, because of lack of catabolism of leucine, it will cause cerebral edema, and cerebral edema leads to high ICP. This high ICP is the problem for all the presentation. So this is the problem. You can see weight loss, lethargy, weight loss because metabolism is not paired, lethargy, and hypertonia, first hypertonia, then hypotonia, and then mental retardation. So based on level of deficiency, again, the enzyme actually disease can progress slowly, and this presentation will be seen. So these are the death if the dietary intake of this valine, leucine, isoleucine is not restricted. So I told you it will lead to death ultimately, coma and death. So you can see this is the whole branch, and I want to tap this opportunity of this maple syrup urine disease to talk a little bit about the catabolism of branch chain amino acid. So catabolism of branch chain amino acid, I will tell you something very easy. So catabolism of branch chain amino acid, if you see, so all branch chain amino acid will go through this two series of fixed strategy of metabolism. So first, transaminases. So all will be acted upon by same type of transaminase, branch chain amino acid transaminases. And then second enzyme will be this that we have studied, branch chain keto acid dehydrogenase. So this will produce this type of. So let's focus on this. Valine only. Don't focus on this. So this will produce isovaleric acid, isovaleryl coenzyme. I was telling you isovaleric acid, isovaleric acidemia. So here it is because of leucine catabolism defect. Now this, after this happened, this transamination and this oxidative decarboxylation, the similar type of, coenzyme A is being added. Remember the reaction. Remember the reaction of conversion of alpha keto glutarate converts into succinyl coenzyme A. Okay, coenzyme A. The same way, this is oxidative decarboxylation. When carbon dioxide is released, and here an ADH, the same type of reaction is this. So there will be production of NADH and CO2 release. So coenzyme A production, isovaleryl coenzyme A production because of this. And this deficiency will lead to elevation of this and elevation of this keto acid. So you can see in the question here, you can see in the presentation here, branch chain amino acid high, and then yellow isoleucine and this branch chain keto acids are high. This is branch chain, these are branch chain keto acids, these are branch chain keto acids, these are high. So after this catabolism of all of this, actually catabolism of this branch chain amino acid happens in skeletal muscle. Okay, so after this branch chain amino acid will undergo beta oxidation type of reaction. What is beta oxidation? This is alpha carbon, this is beta. So there will be insertion of double bond. This is alpha carbon, this is beta. There will be insertion of double bond here. So there will be insertion of a double bond. Okay, this is beta oxidation. There will be insertion of double bond here. I have shown here, sorry. So this beta oxidation will undergo beta oxidation, and this will break down into this and this. I don't want to focus on this. Now isovaleric acid will convert into methyl protonyl coenzyme A because of this double bond insertion. And this will convert into what? This will break down, and it will convert into ketone bodies ultimately. But there comes vitamin B7 if it converts into HMG coenzyme. Here comes vitamin B7. So because I told you, because of vitamin B7 deficiency, it will cause very high methyl protonyl coenzyme, MCC is raised. When B7 is low, then you can see this can also be high. Isovaleric acid will also be high. So sometimes question can comes from organic acidemia when vitamin B6 deficiency or multiple carboxylase deficiency is there. So this isovaleric acid and this isovaleric acid especially is high, and this methyl protonyl coenzyme will convert into HIV. So isovaleric acid comes from here, and hydroxyisovaleric acid comes because of this catabolism of this. Just remember this valeric acid and isovaleric acid, how it is connected. So my point is to focus here. And I shown this picture to make you understand where this valeric acid and isovaleric acid and hydroxyisovaleric acid comes. That's all. So you focus on hydroxyisovaleric acid and this valeric acid. That's it. So main function is this. So when this is blocked, what will happen? This will be high and this will be high. All branch chain will be high. All branch chain will be high. So you can go through this. This is the whole metabolism. Ultimately, ketone body will be formed from this valine. Sorry, from leucine. Leucine has been also only shown. Now, what is the treatment? Treatment in this condition is cornerstone of treatment that we have already discussed in phenylketonuria. Restrict the diet. Okay, restrict the diet and give high dose thiamine. Why high dose thiamine? You know, I've already told you this has got vitamin B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. So give high dose thiamine and aggressive. If there is some baby come with the cerebral edema, you treat the patient severely with the just active management, emergency management, do the emergency management of cerebral edema. So what is the emergency management of cerebral edema? It is IV mannitol is the drug that is given to reduce cerebral edema. Maintenance of sodium level above this 135 with sodium chloride, sufficient glucose administration for energy. So this is the aggressive management, emergency management of the patient when the baby come with the cerebral edema. Otherwise, prevention is high dose thiamine and dietary restriction. Did you understand? Yes. And don't be confused with the picture, though it seems complicated. Just I wanted to show this. This is absent, only 2 steps. The all branch chain will undergo same type of catabolism up to this. If it is blocked, this will be raised. And I wanted to show the valeric acid is part of, isovaleric acid is part of leucine catabolism. Hydroxyisovaleric acid is also part of leucine catabolism. That is what I want to show. Okay. So I hope you understood. Did you? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me know if you don't understand anything. Now, these are organic aciduria chart that I have already done in TVL. So you can go through this chart again. I felt like it is worth mentioning here. So you can see isovaleric aciduria. I've explained this. Isovaleric coenzyme dehydrogenase deficiency. It comes in leucine catabolism. And what is the presentation? You can see methylmalonic aciduria. We have also done this because of deficiency of methylmalonic mutation. propionic aciduria. These are very important. These two are very important. These are part of propionic acid. So these two are very, very important, most common. You can see among the most common. So that is why these two are very important. So common is important. Now maple syrup urine disease, we have already done. So 1, 2, 3. These are very, very important. These three are. Other are, if you know, that is better. And it is like cause you can know easily. So you can know isovaleric aciduria because of this. And glutaric aciduria is because of glutaryl coenzyme A dehydrogenase. And this multiple carboxylase deficiency is because of this all biotin deficient enzyme, biotin dependent enzyme has problem. Okay, so these are the, so you can see this is this like glutaric aciduria. I'm talking about through this picture, glutaric aciduria. So what happens in glutaric aciduria? So this, from this lysine catabolism, and this pipecolonic acid is actually marker for peroxisomal disorder. Peroxisomal disorder. And that is why this is actually catabolized in peroxisome also. Peroxisome. So, you know, through peroxisome, it will form again this. So that is why I have shown this, so that you will connect this the lysine catabolism to peroxisome also. So this lysine catabolism and both tryptophan catabolism will produce a molecule called glutaryl coenzyme A. This glutaryl coenzyme A. This glutaryl coenzyme A actually will be converted into glutaric acid, will be broken down into further. And this requires enzyme called this enzyme, glutaryl coenzyme A dehydrogenase. So glutaryl coenzyme A dehydrogenase, this is glutaric acidemia is related to lysine and tryptophan metabolism. That is what I want to show from this picture. Okay, so this is organic acidemia. You can see in organic acidemia must be present with infancy, with poor feeding, vomiting. So this is called metabolic sepsis. Okay, metabolic sepsis. So because of metabolism, deficient metabolism, so be present with the sepsis-like of presentation. Vomiting is a sepsis-like presentation, poor feeding. Hypotonia, the fever or sepsis-like presentation baby come with. This is metabolic sepsis. Hypotonia, high anion gap. High respiratory rate will be very high in such patient. Metabolic acidosis, you know, the respiratory rate goes high, goes up. Hepatomegaly, seizures, and organic acid accumulation. These are because of organic acid accumulation. High anion gap is organic acid accumulation. Acidosis is also because of organic acid. And this vomiting, poor feeding, high respiratory rate, hypotonia, these are all caused by high acid in the blood, in the brain, and inhibits gluconeogenesis. You know why it inhibits gluconeogenesis? Because your propionic acid pathway will lead to what? You also lead to succinate to glucose. That is why if there is problem, so gluconeogenesis has problem. So glucose will be low. So in such condition, hypoglycemia, hyperammonemia, because urea cycle is also affected. Okay, and I have told you the 4-carbon chain supply from this propionic is not sufficient. That is why ammonia, this hyperammonemia can be there, and hyperammonemia can happen because of acidosis also. Okay, because of acidosis, this metabolic pathway will be inhibited, and that can also cause. These are the two important things. You can go whenever you see MMA, you go for enzyme deficiency, either MMM, even there is propionic aciduria. If it is there, you go for MMM or vitamin B12 deficiency. Okay, you go and study yourself. You know it. So these are. So you can see the common presentation in this. These are the common presentation. You go for the test. This is the test: urine test, plasma test, and this propionic aciduria. You will find this C3 propionic acid carnitine will be high. These are the presentation: high anion gap, metabolic acidosis, ketone body will be high, hypoglycemia, mild to moderate hyperammonemia. So these are the presentation. You will see propionic aciduria and methylmalonic aciduria. So how do you see? You can see this organic acid elevation. So you can see methylmalonic acid is high in here, but here you don't see methylmalonic acid. So even if you see this propionic acid high, and with this methylmalonic, you go for this. So that is what I want to show this. So methyl citrate is high, C3 carnitine high both, but methylmalonic acid is high here only. This is the very big clue. And you can study if it is because of biotin deficiency, there will be associated hydroxyisovaleric acidemia also. If it is because of vitamin B12 deficiency, there will be homocysteine will also be high. So the common presentation will be this. So seizures, acute encephalopathy, and hematological presentation, neutropenia, pancytopenia. You go with this, okay? Go yourself. I have made this slide in very detail about the propionic aciduria and methylmalonic. Severe movement disorder is the main difference is this. Here, stroke-like episodes you will see in methylmalonic aciduria. So common chronic presentation, these are common chronic presentation in both. In chronic aciduria, these are the common chronic presentation. I want you to go yourself, neutropenia, pancytopenia, and then this is difference between chronic. So this propionic acid is related to heart, cardiac tissue, and this is related to kidney. So I think, what is this presentation? What is this problem? Tell me.
See.
So this is very evident because from this picture only, okay? This is very evident from this picture only. So you inform her mother that child will require dietary supplementation of which of the following? If phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme is deficient, what is the dietary supplement? Which vitamin is supplement? Which actually amino acid is supplemented?
Vitamin C.
There is no, I forgot, I told you vitamin. Which amino acid is supplemented?
Tyrosine.
Yes, very good. So you go through this question. You have gone through this question previously also. So you have isolated cell from a patient with an unknown disorder and would like to locate the defect in the patient. When radioactive propionate is added to the mitochondria, because propionate is metabolized in mitochondria, no radio-labeled carbon dioxide is detected. No carbon dioxide is detected. Now, however, when radio-labeled methylmalonic acid is added, radio-labeled carbon dioxide was detected. Methylmalonic acid was added, then carbon dioxide was detected. On propionate, no carbon dioxide. On methylmalonic acid, there was carbon dioxide was detected. Which of the following amino acid? So what is the disorder? Let's forget about the amino acid. Where is the problem here in disorder? Propionic acid is added, radioactive, no CO2. Okay, CO2 was not seen, but methylmalonic acid was added, CO2 was seen. Tell me.
I'm not sure, sir.
Yes. You're not sure?
No, I'm not.
See, I am writing. Do you see what I have written?
Yes, I do now.
So see, this is disappointing for me. I have been telling about this pathway. You can see this. I have written. You must have understood this. So where is the problem? You can try to understand that. Anyone? Anjana? Phoebe? So just you don't know this pathway. You people don't know this pathway. Is it your first time you heard about this propionic acid and methyl malonic acid?
No.
So you should be knowing, at least you should be thinking something. If you tell me directly, I don't know, and that is like, it is a bad thing for me. It's discouraging for me. We have been talked about this pathway. Propionic acid is added. No CO2. This is the pathway through which propionic acid is metabolized. This is very easy question, actually. This is the pathway through which propionic acid is metabolized. And if there is problem here, then only propionic acid will not be metabolized. This is simple question. Simple use of brain. If there is a problem here at this point, and that is why it is not being changed. But you can see when methyl malonic acid is added, it is going to change. So there is no problem here. Conversion of methyl malonic acid to succinate to CO2. So problem lies here. So there is the problem maybe with the propionyl coenzyme carboxylase. So this is you have to be very aware of this type of question will come in your exam. And if you think like that, if you are not able to think, so it is useless to talk about this propionic acid pathway. So which all amino acid will produce propionic acid? You have to know that. So amino acid that are producing this propionic acid are methionine, isoleucine, and valine, and even threonine. So you have to understand this. Now, did you get that?
Yes, sir.
So try to use your brain, please. We can't expect a straight question in your exam, NBME exam. So just go for this question, be quick, okay? 30-year-old conscious female presented in emergency with tachycardia. Tachypnea means increased respiratory rate, tachycardia, and anion gap, okay? High anion gap. Blood test revealed propionic acid, methyl malonic acid, and lactic acid as cause of high anion gap. High anion gap is because of organic acid. So these are the organic acid. Which of the following vitamin may be deficient? Is it D? Is it D? Be quick, please.
Yes, sir.
D? See, again you did. I've told you, whenever you see MM in methyl malonic acid, even if you see propionic acid, go for vitamin B12. How do you forget this simple thing? And this is the question from the practice question I gave you. So that means you did not practice. You people did not practice. Wherever you see MMA, just go for it. You can see this. So propionic acid, methyl malonic acid. This is very simple pathway. Only 2 steps are there, and you are getting confused in that also. It is not done. Actually, it is demoralizing for me. This is even if you don't study, you will remember everything. Then through TCA cycle, it will either form glucose or carbon dioxide. In liver, it will form glucose, and in other tissue, it will form carbon dioxide, CO2. So you see, if MMA is right, their problem must be here, not here. And because of blocking of this pathway, actually this will cause a rebound effect on this. The whole pathway, this will also have a blocking effect if it is blocked here. So propionic acid will also be high. This will also be very simple. So this vitamin B12 deficiency should be the answer. Do this question. So please try to go over it again. This is very discouraging for me. I did not expect this much. The 19-year-old vegan female presented with sudden comprehensive chest pain. When he woke up in the morning, he was rushed to emergency. Blood tests were done with suspicion of familial hypercholesterolemia, but the cholesterol level of this patient was 190 mg per deciliter. Okay, cholesterol level was normal. On arterial blood gas analysis, patient had associated high anion gap, metabolic acidosis. Okay, extra investigation revealed high concentration of lactic acid and methionine. What condition, what additional investigation will you recommend to make diagnosis? Yes? Anyone? So only 4 people. Why only 4 people joined today? See, no, Arham is not there. David is not there. What is there? Sonia?
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, would it be A?
Serum potassium. So what is this? Just tell me, what would be this disorder be? What is this disorder? High methionine you see in which condition? Methionine is high. In which condition? You see methionine high in classical homocystinuria. I think you people are not studying biochemistry at all. So that is a problem. Even if you revise a little bit, you will be able to answer this question. Classical homocystinuria only, you will see high methionine. Other condition, you will see low methionine. So this is very easy to understand. You go for homocysteine test. TINE, it should be TINE, homocysteine. Blood, it is homocysteine. Dimer in urine and monomer in blood. So go for this. You answer this question then. You go and try to answer this question. This is all questions are from your